Tensions are rising once again in the South China Sea after the Philippines moved to strengthen its military presence with advanced missile systems and expanded joint defense cooperation with the United States and regional allies. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has accelerated defense modernization programs amid increasing confrontations with China in disputed waters. Recent military drills involving U.S. and Philippine forces also showcased advanced anti-ship missile systems near key maritime choke points close to Taiwan and the South China Sea. China has strongly criticized the growing military cooperation between Manila and Washington, accusing the Philippines of escalating tensions in the region. Meanwhile, the Philippine government insists the deployments are purely defensive and aimed at protecting national sovereignty and maritime territory. For years, the South China Sea has remained one of the world's most dangerous flashpoints. Beijing claims almost the entire water way through its controversial 9-dash line, while the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and several other nations continue to challenge those claims. The latest developments are now drawing even greater international attention because of the deployment of powerful missile systems capable of targeting hostile ships from long distances. The Philippines has officially received multiple batteries of the Indian-made BrahMos supersonic cruise missile system, one of the fastest anti-ship missile platforms in the world. The weapon is designed to strike enemy naval targets with high precision and at extremely high speed, making interception difficult. Philippine Marine Corps personnel completed specialized operational training with the systems from India before the system entered service. Military analysts believe the deployment significantly boosts Manila's coastal defense capability and changes the strategic balance in the region. The missile batteries are expected to strengthen the Philippines' ability to deter hostile naval movements around contested maritime zones. Chinese officials have repeatedly warned against what Beijing describes as outside interference in regional disputes. At the same time, the United States has continued expanding military cooperation with the Philippines under existing defense agreements. During recent Balikatan military exercises, U.S. and Philippine forces deployed the NMSS anti-ship missile system in the northern Philippine province of Batanes, an area located near Taiwan and a critical strategic passage in the Luzon Strait. The exercises involved more than 17,000 troops and focused on maritime defense and rapid deployment operations. Security experts say the combination of BrahMos systems and U.S.-supported missile deployments sends a strong message to Beijing at a time when regional tensions are already intensifying. One military analyst described the deployment as a major shift in the region's deterrence structure. He said the Philippines is no longer relying solely on diplomacy, but is now developing credible defensive firepower capable of responding to maritime threats. Chinese naval activity has also increased dramatically in recent months. Beijing has expanded patrols near disputed reefs and shoals while continuing large-scale military exercises across the South China Sea and areas surrounding Taiwan. At the same time, the Philippines has been strengthening defense ties not only with the United States, but also with Japan, Australia, and India. Japan recently participated in expanded regional exercises alongside American and Philippine forces, reflecting growing concern about China's maritime assertiveness. The South China Sea remains one of the world's busiest shipping routes, carrying trillions of dollars in trade annually. Any military escalation in the region could have major consequences for global trade and energy supplies. Philippine officials insist the country has the sovereign right to defend its waters and modernize its military. Defense leaders argue that repeated confrontations involving Chinese Coast Guard and maritime militia vessels have forced Manila to improve its deterrence capabilities. Over the past several years, clashes between Chinese and Philippine vessels have become increasingly tense. Incidents involving water cannons, dangerous maneuvers, and collisions near disputed shoals have raised fears that a minor confrontation could spiral into a larger crisis. The deployment of the BrahMos missile system is particularly significant because it represents one of the most advanced weapons ever acquired by the Philippine military. The missile travels at supersonic speed and is designed specifically to destroy hostile ships and coastal targets. Defense observers say the system creates a more difficult operating environment for hostile naval forces entering contested waters. Its mobility also allows rapid repositioning across different islands and coastal areas. Chinese state Me Dia has reacted sharply to the growing military buildup around the South China Sea. Analysts aligned with Beijing have accused Washington of encouraging regional militarization under the banner of collective security. But Manila rejects that accusation. Philippine officials argue the country is responding to years of aggressive maritime pressure and repeated violations of its exclusive economic zone. The government says strengthening military readiness is essential for national defense. Meanwhile, the United States continues to reaffirm its treaty commitments to the Philippines. American officials have repeatedly stated that an armed attack on Philippine forces in the South China Sea could trigger mutual defense obligations. That message has become increasingly important as confrontations continue near disputed areas such as Second Thomas Shoal and Scarborough Shoal. Recent satellite imagery and naval tracking reports have shown continued Chinese maritime activity near these contested locations. Regional governments are watching closely for any sign that tensions could escalate further. Military planners also see the northern Philippines as strategically critical because of its proximity to Taiwan. Any conflict involving Taiwan could quickly affect surrounding maritime regions, including Philippine territory. That concern has pushed Manila to improve rapid deployment capabilities and expand coordination with allied forces. During joint exercises, U.S. military personnel demonstrated advanced missile systems capable of targeting enemy ships from land-based positions. According to officials involved in the exercises, the drills were designed to improve interoperability and readiness under realistic combat conditions. One U.S. serviceman explained that the NMISIS system was designed for remote and highly mobile operations, allowing forces to reposition quickly across island territories. The Philippine government has also increased defense spending in recent years as part of a broader modernization strategy. New frigates, radar systems, aircraft, and missile platforms are gradually transforming the country's military capabilities. The Philippine Navy has expanded operations using modern warships such as the BRP Antonio Luna, which has participated in multinational military exercises focused on maritime security and defense cooperation. India's growing role in regional defense cooperation has added another layer to the evolving security environment. The BrahMos missile deal marked a major milestone in defense relations between New Delhi and Manila. Indian officials previously described the transfer as an important contribution to regional maritime security. The agreement also demonstrated India's increasing willingness to expand defense exports and strategic partnerships across Asia. Meanwhile, Beijing continues to emphasize its territorial claims and warns against foreign military presence near disputed areas. Chinese officials maintain that external powers are destabilizing the region by conducting military patrols and joint exercises close to Chinese-controlled waters. However, neighboring countries argue that freedom of navigation and international maritime law must be protected. The dispute has also become part of a wider geopolitical competition involving the United States and China. Washington sees the Indo-Pacific region as central to global security and economic stability, while Beijing views growing U.S. military alliances near its coastline as a direct strategic challenge. As tensions continue to rise, analysts warn that the risk of accidental confrontation remains high. Even small incidents at sea could rapidly escalate if communication channels fail during military encounters. Despite the increasing military activity, diplomatic talks between regional governments are still ongoing. ASEAN nations continue discussions with China over a possible code of conduct for the South China Sea, although negotiations have moved slow. Why for years? Many observers believe the current situation reflects a long-term strategic contest rather than a temporary dispute. Countries across the Indo-Pacific are increasingly investing in missile systems, naval expansion, and alliance building as they prepare for a more contested security environment. For the Philippines, the deployment of advanced missile capabilities marks a historic shift in defense posture. After decades of limited military modernization, Manila is now pursuing stronger deterrence capabilities amid fears of regional instability. The BrahMos missile system has become a symbol of that transformation. Its deployment signals that the Philippines intends to defend its maritime territory with far greater capability than before. At the same time, China's growing naval strength ensures that tensions in the South China Sea are unlikely to disappear anytime soon. The region now stands at the center of one of the world's most important strategic rivalries, where military modernization, territorial disputes, and global power competition continue to collide. And as both sides strengthen their positions, the possibility of future confrontation remains a growing concern for the entire Indo-Pacific region.